Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So welcome to Misty Hills again. Just continuing on a busy day that we're going to have here that's going to stretch over a few different episodes, although at this point I'm not entirely sure. I think I'm just going to, if this all works, and I guess even if it doesn't work, going to cover this and just finish this up in this episode, because I don't know that I need to show all the work. I think it's pretty self-explanatory as to what we're doing here. So right now I'm rolling, if it's not self-explanatory. But no, the experiment we've got going on is to see if we can do all the work in a day. So we'll see how this lines up. And all the work of planting in a day is what we're talking about. Based on some feedback I had gotten early on, I shouldn't say early on, at one point a couple seasons ago, when we were talking about pigs and so forth, there was a gentleman who commented on one of my videos who indicated something I had not heard before, which was if you spray for weeds before they appear, that actually increases your crop yield by 15% due to the fact that you don't take a 15% penalty if you wait to spray for weeds until they emerge, which is what I had been used to doing, because basically in FS19 it didn't seem to work if you sprayed before that. Now again, to the credit there, I never actually tried exactly that, I don't think. So it's possible that it did work, and I just didn't know. The hope then is that since in FS22 there is now material on your map saying that you have weeds, where before they were present, but they were just like dots on the map. There wasn't a specific way to tell that you had sprayed for them. You would just see things go brown or gray on the screen, the physical graphics of the weeds. There was no other manifestation of that. I'm trying not to hit the other field. There's not really a reason, and I just did, so I don't know. I've failed miserably, and in the grand scheme of things, I don't know that it entirely matters. But anyway, because we've got a little bit of an overlap here. I'll just turn and not make my life more difficult, because if I roll the other field, it's not going to hurt it. It's not a field that's owned, and it doesn't ruin the plowed state. So anyway, so with that, my hope then was, can I in fact plant with fertilizer? So now I have the first stage on, and again, keep in mind we don't have precision farming here on FSN at this point, so I need 2 stages of fertilization. So can I plant with fertilization, roll, which is what I'm doing now, then spray for weeds before they emerge, so immediately after I roll, and then, because FS22 keeps track of it, can I then fertilize my second layer by spraying? So that is what I am trying to do today. When I had learned that information, and I tried to do that last season, or last year, when I was on the southern end, when I got to the herbicide piece, I realized, wait, I had plowed this field, so there are no weeds coming. So the herbicide would not take. This is where I have some confusion, because here, I don't have weeds showing on the map. So what I was thinking would happen would be that I would, in fact, see weeds. So I may still have the same issue. But in any event, that's what I'm saying, is that's what I was told. I had never heard that input about, I think we're going to have a little bit here that I'm going to have to clean up, about that 15% penalty if you wait until they emerge. Now, I suppose there's a way I could test that, but I just don't know that it's going to, like, if I don't see a field state change, I'm not sure I'm seeing anything. And so I'm somewhat worried that I'm going to be in the same state, and that maybe what I'd been told isn't how it works, and I'll have to have that person hear this video and comment again, like, what am I doing wrong? Because I will say I am now surprised that I looked at that weed overlay and it's not telling me I have weeds on this field, because I didn't do anything to eliminate the weeds on this field. I have simply planted with a direct seeder, which, yes, while it eliminates the growth of the weeds, because in theory they're plowed under, my understanding now is those weeds should still be here. You know, because if not, what may be happening is now the direct seeder is in effect killing them as plowing would be doing. And so that I just don't have to spray for weeds. I guess we'll see, but I swore I have had that cycle with the seeder. See, now I don't know. I'd honestly have to go back and look and see if once I've switched to the Seed Hawk, have I had that situation or not, or was that simply because I was using other equipment that was not a direct seeder? But, you know, the direct seeder puts me in a good position when we do get precision farming for a better environmental score, because I'm not having to plow, which hurts your environmental score. I will get rolling, because I do need, in theory, to do that. Now, once again, just so that we see where I'm thinking of things, you know, I have no stones here, so the direct seeder doesn't seem to kick up stones unless those are some. They may be. I guess, again, we see by doing this, no, they do not vanish, so those are not stones. Those are just areas that, in theory, need plowing and never got plowed, and I guess, therefore, won't plant. I don't know. Or I just miss them in the planting somehow. What can happen then is if I determine the direct seeder doesn't have any weeds, you know, I don't really have any other options at this point, because I believe the planter I have is also a direct seeder. So that means I wouldn't have to have I'd have the same situation in either case. Yes, so I went ahead and verified. In fact, my planter, along with my Seed Hawk, can direct drill. If a direct drill handles that, I may just have the situation where I don't need to do that anyway. But then I think I'm going to, you know, right now, if I can't do anything with weeds, I'm assuming I'm going to have the same problem I did before on the southern end, which is then I try to come out and fertilize, and it won't let me. I have to wait another day, which means it'll always be a 2-day cycle, which is not the end of the world. I mean, that's normally what I'd be doing. If I have the unexpected benefit now of not needing to roll other than for yield, you know, that might be a good enough discovery as it is, because right now you can see I've got a 73% yield bonus. Needs rolling. See, and now this does say weed growing. So maybe we'll be able to do something. Yeah, this does say weed growing, but you can see the yield bonus is 75%. So rolling is giving me 2 to 3%, but if I don't need to roll, that's a job I don't need to do. That's certainly not a terrible thing. If the weeds occur, you know, because I did not spray at all on the south end, and I never got weeds. So, you know, that's the behavior I would expect the first season after planting. But as you can see on the map, with the weed overlay on, you can see there are weeds now on this field. In any event, that's the experiment that is ongoing, and I've already talked more than I intended in the beginning, but given you, you know, a lot of information, a lot of kind of what I'm thinking about and what I'm trying to determine. So now you have a pretty good idea of what I'm trying to do. I'm probably going to have to touch that up later, but it'll be off camera, so you don't have to worry about it. But my goal is I'll just put this all in kind of a quick snippet, jump cut type thing at the end here to just tell you what happened. so that you know if it happened. But if I can, I'm going to try to get everything done, on all these jobs. And if I do determine that, and then at least I know, hey, if I do these 4 jobs and I have the opportunity, I can go ahead and do that. Because the issue is, like, you can't roll after the crop grows either. So at a minimum, I would need to do the 3 jobs if I wanted those impacts. The only new nuance that I now have in my head is, if I can now spray for weeds, could I do that without rolling? These are all the things I need to discover. So I will go away now and I'll do this work, and I'll see, I'll share with you what I find out. So I'll see you in a bit. So I am back here spraying some herbicide. Alright, so to get you up to speed, I'm going ahead and gonna now work on herbicide here. Sorry, I need to get over there. We'll get this filled up. But I've run some experiments while I was rolling and basically sprayed both on the rolled and unrolled part of the field, and found that it does seem to work. Now, it is visually striping strangely. I've played with the width. I've kind of cycled the width of the equipment as I have done in the past when I had the fertilizer doing it. The difficulty I have is don't have anything showing up on the map when I go in and it refreshes. So, you can kind of see here what it seems to be doing. But when I walk around on the field, dark or light, it does tell me it's taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and take a leap of faith here a little bit and go ahead and work on this and get this sprayed, and then we'll be back to see if we can get the fertilizer on. Alright, back here on the field, getting ready to try to fertilize, but as you can see, nothing's popping up about weeds, even though, we've got dark spots, light spots. So, the field looks kind of messy when you take a peek at it. Yeah, you can kind of see it's all over the place, but let's see if this works now. Well, I'm liking the fact that things are changing, so that tends to indicate we're probably in good shape. So we had put down about $10,000 of herbicide. So I still wonder, when I've got crops that I've maybe got 200,000 units of, and I sell them for 400 per thousand, so I'm getting like 80,000 off the field. Would I really have enough of a drop with the weeds to warrant that, for example? That's always the challenge, and I think it's just one I've not tried to figure out. So if I try to lock in here, I'd move over quite a bit, but I guess that means I can err on the side of caution and stop worrying about the edge of the field so much. So I'm gonna have to move over there. But let me take a look at the map. So yeah, that's my little bit of a challenge there. Are we really going to be considered fertilized? I don't know. So I think when I get down here, we'll do our width change that we have normally done before. And now I'll finish this last segment here. And we'll see things appear differently on the map when we're done. Alright, so I've got myself aligned. I go here. So you can see fertilized 50. Fertilized 50, even with the tracks. Alright, so I've been kind of pacing the field. You can see, I think basically I'd be in that circle on the arrow. So I'm solidly in the dark blue. And you can see that's fertilized 100. But as I start to move over, you'll see it does, in fact, seem to drop And now when I'm a little bit in there, you know, I've got a little bit of the circle, you know, I'm at 63.59, like it gets pretty low, and now, you know, I'm heading back into the blue, and it's raising up, getting near 100. You know, and the bigger thing is, like, if you look at the yield bonus, plus 96, and then if I'm out here, where I'm down to 59%, you know, 59%, I'm down to 80. So, you know, we're talking about 16% crop yield. You know, if I go back over here amongst the tracks, I think is about when I was at 100. You know, I'm at 98. So that's an 18% drop in crop yield. So like it or not, whatever those stripes were, they're causing me some issues. At this point, I'm going to park here, and I'm going to, I guess, come back a different day and work this, and then, you know, hopefully, again, we won't see any weirdness with the weeds. It looks like the weeds are okay, but the fertilizer striping, you know, because again, when I'm here, like, it's not telling me there's a difference, but it's almost like it will not let me apply where there's tracks. Because if we really look at this is more the track versus before when I had a striping problem. You know, so for example, like down here, I don't know if running through the weeds as I was like to go get the rocks today, you know, is that going to leave some kind of tracks or something? So I just don't know if I'm having a weird result or what is happening. But in any event, I don't want to spend money fertilizing and then get what amounts to, you know, maybe 90% off the field when I could be getting 98. Because, you know, if I take the average, like where it's giving me, you know, 100, I'll get, you know, or 98, I'll get at 98, but where it's giving me 80, and then, you know, if I'm in the middle of that's kind of what I'm suggesting. So it's not as if I have to get it done today. It was more just the test. The test if I could do it. And it looks like I can, but I'm, as always, going to have to keep in mind what my instruments are showing me. So yeah, it's really interesting, and I think, you know, where the circle is kind of like where it's giving me the reading from, is my understanding of how this always works. But so again, we've got 6 stages of growth, which means we're going to be looking at, you know, 6 months before we can harvest. So we're going to be in October or so. So I've certainly got time to get out here and do fertilization, and so at some point I will do that, you know, since I wasn't necessarily, you know, my original plan was, hey, if I can do it, I'm going to fertilize. I'm not necessarily going to show you, so I'm not going to turn that into a fertilization episode. I'll just tack that on to the end here and just let you know, yep, it looks like it's working. Let's say I get on tomorrow in May. That'll just be the end of the episode. But so still going to be the same thing, so that, you know, we've got a relatively short, probably less than half-hour episode for you here, covering all the field prep or the crop prep as we're waiting for harvest. And, you know, then we'll get on with other things. You know, got to pay attention to our pigs, so that'll be likely the next episode, which may again turn out to be slightly out of sequence because I may do some pig work later today. But in any event, I'll see you in a bit. Back another day, and obviously my equipment isn't connected because I haven't been on for a day. And I'm half asleep, obviously, because I don't even know where my connections are. Goodness gracious. Alright, so there we go. You know, obviously we've got things on the field here. Let's just make sure we are seeing a solid line right now. Now that doesn't mean a whole lot, because it can actually, once we start hitting these areas. Hopefully we can do this. I just wonder if there was something I had done before that I could have avoided what we had happening. But yeah, you can see the kind of the area that it was not spraying before. It does appear to be getting sprayed. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and work on getting the field done, and then come back and finish that last piece. Alright, so let's take a peek. Alright, so it looks good. I will continue on, get this field done, and I'll be back. I'll see you in a bit. Fertilizing is going to be done once I get down to the tree line where the field heads out toward the river. Got about half of this done here. So I've also finished when I went and refilled the sprayer, which I did need to do. Went and finished the first row that didn't work correctly, and now it is fully covered. So we are at the point where we have done everything we can again to get the field as prepped for a great harvest as possible. So just before I wrap up, so that should be it. Oh yeah, we're way past. The other thing you'll notice, I have weeds on. You know, we're down here, it shows. I was down at field 20 because Nick was on when I was here, and he's talked about borrowing my equipment for potatoes, but he's planted wheat this year for his chickens, he said. So he's got that in the field. It's at 3 of 7 already, so he did that a few days ago, obviously like 3 days ago. So in March, you can see he's got the brown because he sprayed after where we sprayed before, as the commenter encouraged us to, and it looks different. So this 15% yield gain may be there, but as I was chatting with Nick, I'm like, I just don't know how I would really know that unless I just get some insane amount of harvest that makes it so obvious. But again, even if I was going to get, say, 300,000 off this field, you know, with the previous version, you know, spraying after they emerged, you know, that would be 45,000 would be the 15,000 or 15% increase. Like, I don't know that I would know that 345,000 is not what I would get off the field normally anyway. Oh shoot. Well, that's not good. Let's see. Because I want to put it in the silo. I'm probably going to have to move. Oh, no, thank goodness. Alright. Dumping it in now. Just, yeah, I ended up, obviously I picked up the first pallet that I had mistakenly unloaded on the ground, and then started filling from the silo, so obviously then it would just fill. So, all that's taken care of. Always, you know, so, whoops. Well, that's not where I wanted to go. Alright, so we're parked away. Ready for next time. So that gets us where we need to be. I've showed you kind of what we're seeing different on the weeds, so our experiment continues. We'll see how it all goes, and maybe next time I can figure out how to make it all work in one day, or maybe that's just not possible. But, you know, again, not sure I want to go that far, but it's still worth a try. I could always start spraying and say, hey, it works, but I don't have time to do it, because in the end, I'd have to get through the herbicide to get this possible 15% benefit. But hopefully you've learned something along with me, and I'll see you next time.